If you are a teacher, student, blogger, vlogger, copywriter, business professional, or really just anybody that uses any form of creative writing in any way, shape, or form for your job or for your personal life, then buckle your seatbelts because your mind is about to be blown and your job potentially made null and void. Welcome to Apex House, where I teach you the tools, techniques, and strategies you can use to build, automate, and monetize digital content. Now, artificial intelligence is not anything new. Websites like Copy AI, Lumen 5, and Lalo.ai have been around for a while, and they are some technologies that I personally use in my own business and content creation. But there is a new technology on the block made by a company called OpenAI that is making headlines everywhere. Everyone from Gary Vaynerchuk to Alex Hormozi to Forbes to random Medium writers are all writing articles, making videos talking about this new technology called ChatGPT. So what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence computer program that is essentially made to have a human-to-human conversation with you. You can ask it questions, you can give it commands, and it can pretty much do just about anything that you tell it to without needing to use specific syntax or to use commands or codes or anything like that. It's basically your best friend who just happens to be a genius and has access to all of the internet at the snap of a finger. It can understand what you say and respond with appropriate responses. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, what can you do with it? I think the better question would be, what can't you do with it? Let's say I'm a student and I need to write a paper about World War II. I can simply log on to the ChatGPT website and literally type in, "Tell me all about World War II." Within a matter of seconds, it writes for me an entire article about who was in the war, what years it was, the timeline of events, everything that you need to know about the war, and essentially, again, within a matter of seconds, your paper is done. Or is it? Let's say after it's given me some of the initial basic information, I want it to expand on a particular section of the article that's written for me. It can do that too. Not only can you give it instructions and ask it questions, but it remembers the conversation as it goes by. So first I ask it, to tell me about World War II, and then it talks about, a few battles between some countries. Now I can go ahead and say, tell me more about these battles that happened between these countries, with an emphasis on, Germany and the other countries that were involved. Again, within a matter of seconds, it goes ahead and expands on additional information and talks about specific battles that happened, the locations, the number of people who died, the names of the battles if they have special names. It's absolutely incredible and equally terrifying. So let's say you're an aspiring musician and you maybe have like a basic idea for a song, but for some reason you're just getting writer's block and you're having struggle putting pen to paper. ChatGPT can help you with that too. I went ahead and went inside and told it to write me a 4-verse song about two people meeting in a crowd and falling in love that would go well to a 120 to 122 beats per minute. And like magic, it printed me out a 4-verse song that I essentially can now take and use if I want to, or add my own spin on, maybe take some words out, replace some things. But again, it just creates this entire outline within seconds of me really not having to do any work. If you're a content creator that needs ideas for blog topics to write about, you can go in and say, what are some personal development blog articles to write about, and it will give you an entire list. Do you need an outline for an email or a blog article or a script for your next YouTube video? It can do that too. Literally, I went in there and said, make me an outline for a blog article talking about, personal development with an emphasis on, habit forming, time management, and creative thinking. And again, within a matter of seconds, it wrote me an entire outline of the information that I requested it to make. If you need to know what some common problems are of your target audience, same thing. Go in, what are some of the most common problems people have when trying to do ABC, XYZ? If you're a contractor that needs to outline a scope of work, you can ask. If you're a web developer that needs some programming to happen, you can tell it to do that. It can create WordPress plugins for you. You literally go in and say, write me the code for a WordPress plugin that will do ABC, XYZ. The list goes on and on. Whether you need ideas, questions answered, outlines, drafts, if you can ask it, ChatGPT can do it. So now we get to the ethics part of the equation. This was something that my husband and I actually discussed when I was showing him the tool, because I was just like blown away at how powerful it was. And he too was like, oh my God, like I can't believe this is doing what it's doing right in front of our eyes. But then he responded and said, well, this is great, but you can't use it for most of these things because it would be considered plagiarism. Which we then got into a fun little debate because I personally disagreed. So the first thing I did was went to Google and looked up, what is the definition of plagiarism? Is this plagiarism? Is this cheating? And according to Google, plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own. Now, the key word in that definition, at least from the perspective that I read it as, is someone. But ChatGPT is not someone, it is a software. And it's not just any software, it is a software that is compiling trillions of pieces of data from across the web to create its own unique data. So is that still considered plagiarism? As Pablo Picasso once said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And if you think about the content creation in today's day and age, I would argue that no ideas are original anymore. We are all, as a collective society, as digital content creators, no matter whether you do it professionally or just, in your everyday life, we are all just reframing, paraphrasing, or otherwise regurgitating in our own words things that we've learned, things that we've heard, things that we've experienced in our own life. So is artificial intelligence that's essentially doing the same thing, just at a much faster pace? We do it over long periods of time, but this AI can do it like that in a matter of seconds. But it's still taking all of this data, trillions of pieces of data across the internet, and regurgitating it in its own way. Is that any different? Personally, I don't think so. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious about, what the arguments are going to be about this from a plagiarism, cheating kind of perspective. And also make sure to hit the like button if you are also blown away by this, because I've gone through a few articles of other people that have kind of gone and played with it to see what they're doing, and just the things that people are coming up with is crazy. So this leads us to the next question, is this technology good or bad? This has been one of the most common questions, conversations, arguments about technology since the dawn of technology. Like any technology, you can argue until you are blue in the face that it's good, or you can argue that it's bad, but the hard 100% fact truth is that it is neither. It is neither good nor bad. It is technology, and technology is neutral. It simply comes down to what people do with the technology. That is what, determines being good or bad. Not the technology itself, but what people choose to do with the technology. Some people argue, oh, it's going to take people's jobs. Well, guess what? They said the same thing about the assembly line. And what happened? It created more jobs. It created new jobs because of increase in, economic ability. Other people, teachers, that's been a big argument. There's an article about teachers being worried that students are now going to cheat. Students, A, have been cheating since the dawn of time. But B, the same argument was made when search engines came out. Google, Yahoo, Ask Jeeves, all of the other search engines. The same argument was made was, oh, now that all these kids have access to Google and can just search things, now they're all gonna cheat. But what happened? We learned to work around it. Teachers adapted. You have to adapt. When the TV came out, people complained that it was gonna kill family life, then it was gonna kill social interactions. When the internet came out, people complained that it would kill industries and kill businesses. Society loves to demonize anything new that challenges the status quo, because people hate change and people fear what they don't understand. The reality is, innovations over the last century have had drastically far more positive impacts than they've had negative impacts on everything from society to commerce and social connectivity to job creation, wealth increases, economic improvement. Technology, more often than not, advances us as a civilization. It does not cause problems. And the things that die out are things that are outdated or less efficient anyway. Whenever new technology arises, we have two options. We can embrace it and thrive, or we can fight it and fail. And whether or not you succeed is entirely dependent on your perspective and how you choose to react to the new technology. You look at brick and mortar businesses that refuse to get online, they've slowly died out as time has gone on. But the brick and mortar businesses that chose to get online and embrace technology thrived more than they ever thought, possible. If you look at established real estate agents who the older generation of real estate agents that have refused to get on social media for their business, their sales have decreased over time, while the younger and sometimes even less experienced real estate agents, but they do choose to use social media, their sales have increased and they've thrived and surpassed their outdated competitors because of their use of technology and of social media. In a world where content is not only is content never ending, but is increasing, more and more every day, you can choose to complain about, how it's not fair or how you don't understand it, or you can embrace it and ask yourself, how can I use this to work for me, and how can I use this to, help my business? So then the question becomes, how do you stand out and avoid becoming a commodity? For those of us that decide to embrace new technology like this, the question then becomes, how do you stand out? Because if everybody has access to this technology, then everybody's content essentially becomes the same and therefore is not special. The answer is simple. Use your uniqueness. Use your story. Use your personal life experiences. As Gary Vee would say, don't create, document. ChatGPT is nothing more than another tool, just like Google or Copy AI, which is another tool that I personally use to create blog articles or to create video outlines for my other businesses. Everyone may have access to the same tools, but no two people's stories are the same as to how they got to where they are or the experiences that they're having along their own personal journey. Your experience and your story is unique to you, and that is what is going to make you stand out. Because as you go through specific life experiences and share those experiences as they relate to whatever it is that you're trying to do, the people who have similar stories, similar experiences, vibe with your style, those are going to be the people that you're going to connect with and that you're going to attract for your business, and that is how you're going to stand out. It's going to be how you connect with people, is your individual story and unique experience. You want to focus on creating high quality, unique, and engaging content that addresses the needs and interests of your consumers and target audience, and that is going to be how you're able to stand out. Sure, a high school student can use this tool, ChatGPT, to write an essay on World War II, but perhaps the teachers will need to adapt. So instead of just making the assignment write a paper about World War II, they'll change it to write a paper about World War II and relate a specific battle to a personal life experience that you've had, right? So now the students not only have to talk about World War II, but they have to talk about how something that they read or something that they learned is related to maybe an analogy that they can make from another experience they've had in their life. So they're gonna have to connect it more to a personal experience, and that is kind of how you can get around just the cookie cutter, fill in the blank, auto-generated homework assignments that are bound to happen. Google did not kill the high school English class, and neither is this tool. Though let's be honest, high school English should have died a long time ago. So bringing this all, tying this all together, ChatGPT is obviously an incredibly powerful tool that is without a doubt going to change not only content creation as, a business, but really every business. I mean, again, just going through some of the articles that I've gone through, the things that people are doing with this are crazy and are vastly beyond just from a content creation perspective. But whether you're looking for idea generation, you're looking for complete, done products, whether you think it's good or bad, whether you love it or you hate it, there is one point which is great for some and unfortunate for others, and that is this is here to stay. This is not going to go anywhere. This technology is only going to get more advanced. I'm sure we're going to see more copycats kind of pop up now that this technology has been released. I'm sure other companies are going to kind of start making similar style programs. And yes, there are going to be those people who just use the cookie cutter out of the box, don't make any changes, and they'll be successful for a little while. I have no doubts. I think for a little while we're going to see a lot of auto-generated content that is, yes, going to make some people some money for a little bit. But if your goal is to, play the long-term game and thrive and stand out, again, for, long-term, look at this as a tool, just another tool in your tool belt, and combine it with your other tools as well as, again, your personal experience, personal unique story, and that is how you're going to be able to thrive in not only the new digital creator economy, but also in the era of auto-generated content. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is good or bad? Do you like the idea of this technology? Do you not like it? Have you used it? And if you haven't, are you going to? And if you are going to use it, what are you using it for? I really would love to hear what other people are using this for, because it's crazy to me all of the things I've seen so far that people have been using it for. So definitely go check it out, and then come back and please tell me what you're using it for. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. And I hope you found this information helpful, and I hope you got some great value. If you did, please hit the like button. It really helps. And also hit the subscribe button for more helpful content like this. Then you're going to want to check out this next video where you can learn how to start building your own digital asset from scratch. Until next time, take care.